I feel compelled to write about the murders of the last year. I feel obliged to write about it, and I want to write about it. Charleston Massacre, 1. On hearing the news, I had no place to put this hurt, no nail pulled from its bed, no spindled finger. My hands were full of holes. I had no shoulder free to balance death, 9 too many for yokes of dread and grief. I looked to my heart, not an inch for another atrocity. The flood from my liquid heart pushed them away. Go back to life, it cried, back to living and the ordinary good you do. I canvassed my gut for space among what nourished me and what I would discard, gut swollen with horrors one on the next. I lay my full and wounded body on the ground, lay this body down with its leak and bulk, its pierce and scourge, supplication for a place to carry witness. These 9, honor them. 2. In the garden, I blot the seep with chamomile, pluck stem and fragile leaf from pebbled soil. Creeping Charlie winds a vine to tourniquet the weeping wound. I scourge the ground of grief, claw rake in hand, gloved against the stroke of vengeance. Near roots, near sedum, iris, lily crowns, near corm and rhizome, taproot, bloom, I fold my crouch, my stoop, to lay my body down on earth, flat supplicant for care, for hope. The slapped cheek of distant murder bleeds into the grass. I beg this homemade Eden, poultice, char of flesh, punched out by bullet holes. We talked about languages, and I want to read a short excerpt from my memoir. This is a chapter that will introduce my grandmother's life. And I will say about it, the acquisition of language is not always what's intended. What do you need to know? My grandmother's house was number 450. I think that'll do it. I see that Almond didn't bring the garbage pails in yet, my grandmother said, looking up Harding Street toward the heights from the bay window in her bedroom. Out the other side of 450, you could see down to Halifax Street. Mama, I wish you wouldn't say Almond. You know better than that, said my mother. Almond, that's what the folks said down the country. Grandmother nodded with satisfaction, successful in irking her daughter, my mother. I was 5 years old, standing at the window too, repeating, Almond, Almond, under my breath. Not woman, but Almond. I liked the common sound of it, a word I'd never be allowed to use. "Ah, Claire Undine, that's one pretty talking child you got," was what people over town in Petersburg said to Mama when I finished enunciating every beginning, middle, and final consonant. Proper speech was required of faculty children like me over on the Hill at Virginia State College for Negroes. We spoke the language of our parents' degrees. Maybe that's why I liked the guttural start to Almond so much. Rebellion in one word. I knew Mamu only said it to annoy Mama. The rest of the time, her speech met her professional children's talk in a colorful dialect. As a compliment, "You outshine the glittering sun," was certainly higher on the scale of correctness than Almond, but it was still in another altogether different world from the standard English Mama, Daddy, and Auntie spoke at their schools. Mamu had an edge to her that I recognized at 5, and Almond was a clue to tread lightly. I didn't know why. It was just the way she was sometimes. When my cousin Sandra would come later, I'd tell her, "Mamu said Almond like we aren't supposed to, and Mama told her not to." Sandra knew more black talk than just Almond. She regularly went down the country with her mother, Cousin Ethel, to see her grandmother, Big Mama, and her great-grandmother, Mag, who was Mamu's sister. Sometimes down the country, people say children, and you're supposed to say children. She said, showing her teeth on the first syllable and poking her lips out on the second. I'd heard people say that too. If I said children, I knew Daddy would say, don't talk like you're from across the swamp. After lunch, Mama would probably make us cups of tea to drink when she had her own, and would be gone until the next word. I want to finish with joy and backup singers. Whatever art, whatever self. You have to remember that that's what it's about as I get going. Whatever art you got, whatever self you got, okay? They never expect you to love it, to love it, to love it. Things stumbled upon, not parentally planned, you love it, you love it. Support is a three-legged stool, legs cut with no measuring tool, at the shock and the fear that you love it. They never expect you to love it. Breath, sustained, you love it, you love it. Focus on the locus of the stumbled on thing, you found it, you love it. It grates, irritates, and rubs, but you love it, you love it. They tell you stay still and be quiet, you love it. You love it. They want you to like it and dabble, but you love it, you love it. You keep to their rules the best that you can, still love it, and shave yourself down to a suitable cipher who loves it, until you find zero, the root of your skill, and lifers decipher the sense in your babble, and stories converge, and communion is abled with selves unrestrained who come to the table with music and color and movement and sex and words for the will to create. 'Cause you love it, you know you love it.